I am an Avatar hater. I have been since birth. Avatar was nominated for 131 awards. When the second one came out, there was more hype than if God announced the Bible too. I saw Avatar when I was like 5, and the only thing I could remember was when the blue guy wiggled his toes. It seems like no one remembers this movie. That's what infuriates me so much. This is the highest grossing movie of all time, and people are just like, yeah, the CGI was good. It isn't even the highest grossing movie of all time. That's a lie. You've been lied to. Kinda. The only reason it's number 1 was because when it was in theaters in 2009, it stayed there for 234 days. Most movies stay in theaters for around 30. Not even that. James re-released this movie like 4 times. According to Box Office Mojo, the movie has been in theaters for a total of 379 days or 54 weeks. Avengers Endgame actually beat Avatar for the highest grossing movie of all time. And honestly, I get it. It's not the best movie, but it's like a celebration. But James Cameron wagged his little finger and went, I'm gonna re-release this movie in theaters for the 11th time and summon a million dick writers so that I can get this movie back to its number 1 spot. And it worked! Reclaiming that spot shouldn't work, James. But you know what? Maybe I'm just a hater. Like I said, I didn't remember any of the plot points, so I went to see the movies back to back. Here are my spoiler-free thoughts on the movies. Okay, right off the bat, I already have complaints. I turned on the movie and the first thing I realized was that this movie kinda looks like dog shit. Now, I'm not talking about the CGI. The CGI is incredible. It somehow still holds up today, but I'm talking about like the actual quality of the movie. When you shoot a movie, you can either record it digitally or physically on film. Now, I don't understand why, but when you shoot a movie physically on film, it can be upscaled infinitely. That's how you have movies and high-budget music videos being remastered in 4K from the 80s. When you shoot a movie digitally, it is stuck in that quality forever. I have no idea why James shot it digitally. Maybe it's for CGI reasons, but I couldn't find a definitive answer for it. This doesn't take away from the quality of the story or directing. I just thought it was really interesting to think about. Way of the Water was also shot digitally, and I wonder if that will look bad in 10 years. Anyways, actually getting to like the meat and potatoes of the movie, I don't really have much to say on it. It might be because I'm just soulless, but I didn't feel anything for any of the characters except for the lead, Jake Sully. Because of that, none of the emotional moments hit, and I just ended up laughing at the most inappropriate times. The last hour really dragged for me and I had to fight to stay awake. I had to prop toothpicks under my eyes like a Looney Tunes character. The plot was incredibly simple, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but it wasn't enough to keep me engaged. Perhaps if 5-year-old Ruben saw this in theaters, he would have been clapping like, "Hooray, blue people! Yay!" It would have blown my mind, but it isn't really 17-year-old Ruben's thing. If you saw this movie for the first time at home too and not at theaters, be honest with me, were you engaged? Like, let's have an open discussion in the comments. I need to know, am I crazy? Am I just this like hater? Now, based purely off my entertainment and enjoyment of the film, not an objective critical rating, I would have to give it a 5 out of 10. I kinda wanna have sex with the blue girl. Okay, Avatar 1 didn't exactly blow me away, but let's see if Way of the Water can change my mind. I bought tickets to see it in 3D, and I'm not gonna lie, this thing better be life-changing. AMC charged me $14 in convenience fees and taxes. That is the same price as a whole other ticket. Okay, the actual review. I got to the movie, I sat down, and it started. I'm not gonna lie, the first 30 minutes was kind of incredible. I sat there, tears welted up in my eyes, thinking, I get it now. James Cameron somehow revolutionized CGI again, and it just looked unreal. It was so beautiful you would think they filmed it with your eyes. Oh, and the 3D was insane. It wasn't characters just going like, ooh, you know, like reaching out to you. Everything had perspective. There was a clear foreground and a background. Words don't do it justice, you just have to see it. It really felt like I was there with the Na'vi. But then the hype quickly wore off. When you make a movie, the standard is 24 frames per second. But for some reason, James not only filmed it in 24 frames, but also 48, and it kept flip-flopping back and forth. It gave it a really bad visual effect, looking like the movie was lagging. When it was 48 frames per second, everything looked so weightless and it was just jarring to look at. It looked identical to what a PS5 exclusive would look like. There was just so many characters introduced in this film, and it did a great job making sure I didn't care about any of them. The movie just dragged out too long for me, and it felt like James going, "Hey guys, look at all these whales! Do you see how many pores they have?" The plot of the movie was incredibly simplistic, which isn't a bad thing again, but it just wasn't for me. But I'm probably just a soulless monster, because as soon as the movie ended, I turned to the family to my right and they were just sobbing uncontrollably. I really wanted to like these movies. I know it seems like I'm just doing a lot of hating, but I did go in with the mindset of wanting to enjoy it. There was just an hour of each I didn't like. Okay, again, based purely off my entertainment, I give Avatar Way of the Water a 6 out of 10. I really want to have sex with that blue girl.
Weirdo freak.